Welcome to our virtual gathering of the waters. I'm the Reverend Carrie Muller, co-minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Whether you are with us Zoom Sunday morning, by YouTube at some future time, whether you are a long-time Unitarian Universalist or just stumbled on us while scrolling through, or somewhere in between, whatever your faith or status, wherever you were born, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here with us. Special thanks this morning to Rick Dusky for technology and Mary Ryan and Emily Quarles for their hard work on behalf of worship at our fellowship, and also to our pianist, Dave Hunter. Are there any announcements this morning?
I guess I have one for Emily and Alan. Let's get together sometime this week. And Carrie and Dave, let's get together for a quick worship committee meeting and figure out August or I guess I've got Carrie and Dave for the rest of the year. Emily and Alan and I need to talk if we can. Just a Zoom meeting one day.
Okay.
So I'll send you a thing. Emily, your days are more tied up than Alan's and mine are. So let me know a good day.
The newsletter deadline is this Wednesday at the end of the day.
Right?
I guess we need to meet by Tuesday.
So just wanted to let everybody know.
Oh, thank you.
And I'd like to make an announcement about World Tai Chi Day is having an online summit on September 26th from 1 to 5. So anyone is welcome to join us for World Tai Chi Day.
Wanted to give a reminder, the board meeting is next Saturday at 10:30. Just a reminder to the board members.
So are we doing committee council that Wednesday?
We'll be doing a committee council meeting on Wednesday evening, yes. I'll send out the email.
And I just have a small announcement that UU The Vote is working hard to get people to send text messages at a certain time and make phone calls at a certain time. So you can give as much or as little time as you need, as you can contribute if you care about getting out the vote. And I can send you a link if you send me an email, or you can go right to uuthevote.org. And there's lots of opportunity for you to sign up. You don't have to commit to a huge schedule, but they have trainings, and they also have times when everybody makes the calls at the same time.
Thank you, Trish.
Yep.
One of those is volunteering in 2016 when they were making phone calls, and one volunteer on her list was another volunteer on the other side of the room. And so she calls and starts doing her spiel, and they realize they're talking to each other. It's pretty funny.
Now let us compose ourselves for the prelude presented by Dave Hunter. Mary, you have the fellowship's chalice there?
Yes, I do.
And you can light it. These are our words this morning.
All right, wait a minute, I gotta get it into the shot. Where is it? Oh, back up. Okay. How's that? Okay.
It's a single flame, but it lights the many rooms we dwell in. It reminds us of who we are. And when we leave, we will take it with us in our hearts. The opening words are from the Reverend Andy Pakula, who is our Unitarian Universalist minister in London, England. He writes, "Although we cannot be together physically, we come together nonetheless. We see each other's faces and hear each other's words. We arrive at this virtual place as a community of people, as people committed to one another and to our bold purpose. Even without the touch of a hand, we know togetherness. Even without an embrace, we know mutuality. May the light of solidarity grow ever brighter. May we be together for one another and for the world. Amen." And I've decided we need to have joys and sorrows this morning after being apart all this time. Part of being a community of faith is that we share our joys and our burdens. If you like to speak, I guess we're all unmuted. I won't need to do that. But I invite you to tell us what is most on your heart these days. And I will conduct a small ritual. I will drop a stone into a bowl of water, and the ripples will reach out through the magic of the internet and touch every one of us. So here's our bowl of water. And here is a chalice of stones, and I will do the dropping if I hear what you would like to share.
We have a joy. We have a new au pair from Germany. Her name is Antonia, and we are happy to welcome her into our house. And she started at the end of August.
Welcome, Antonia. Kay, I saw you start.
You're muted, Kay.
I have a joy and a concern. I have a joy that my granddaughter, our granddaughter, has started Friends School in Baltimore, and she's so happy. And it's just such a blessing that she's able to go to school. My concern is our grandson who lives in Royersford, and they do not have in-person support for autistic children, and they have only Zoom. So it's very difficult from 9 until 3 o'clock going Zoom with my grandson. So I have a joy and a concern for both our grandkids.
And support for your grandchildren.
What did I do?
I have a concern for all the students at Kutztown and what, basically what they're going through, trying to deal with this pandemic when they don't always make the right decisions. I've had a lot of students who now have COVID-19, and so my heart goes out for them, and I'm concerned.
I have go ahead, Mary.
I was just going to say, I'd invited my sister because she sent a water picture, but she's not coming because she's meeting with all of her in-laws to inter her mother-in-law's ashes, who died during COVID, but she died of old age. She was 99. Think about them.
Mary's sister and in-laws. Trish? No, it wasn't Trish. It was Sally.
Yeah. I have a sadness about a joyful person that many of you know or knew. Kerry Lee, who used to play the lyre at our labyrinth walks, she passed away on Tuesday after a relatively short illness, not COVID-19, no. But she's just so filled with joy that and love that, I shall miss her very deeply.
In joy and sadness for Carrie Lee. Erica, you need to unmute.
go. There's the button. There's the button. I just wanted to, you need to mute.
I am muted.
No, you're, wait.
I am muted.
You need to put your, forget it, I can't do it.
Rick needs to put his speaker on mute.
Sorry, we're in the same room. And
Yeah, we figured.
so I had everything turned off. I just wanted to mention a friend of ours. I've known her for about 15 years. Our kids went to preschool together and we were in Cub Scouts together. And she passed away this past week for brain cancer. And she 10 years younger than me. And it's very sad for kids. And they're grown, so a little easier than if they were little, but still it's very, very sad. And I said goodbye to her yesterday.
And sadness for Erica's friend.
Hi, I have a sorrow. One of my cousins who I wasn't really close to, but kept in contact with on Facebook, passed away from cancer. And he was in his 50s. And one of the things was interesting. We did a virtual memorial, and there was almost 200 people there. And he was a musician down in Florida. And one of the things he did that kind of fooled us into thinking that he was doing well was he kept posting all the home repairs that he's doing and how he's fixing up his yard and all that stuff. And when I talked to his mom, she said that she thinks that he did that so that he knew his wife would be okay when he was gone. And it was just very touching to hear that.
In honor of home repairs as an act of love. And Emily, but you need to unmute also.
Yep. I just was wondering if everyone could keep my Aunt Linda in their thoughts. She lives in California, and the other day the wildfires came within a quarter mile of her house, and her best friend lost their house. So if you could keep them in your thoughts.
For Aunt Linda and all those affected by the fires. And we think of these joys and sorrows, those that are spoken and shared, those that are silent and solitary and scattered about. So I have a story this morning. It's called The Water of Life. And it is based on this lovely book called The Water of Life, which was written by J. and Victoria Williams and illustrated by Lucinda McQueen. I highly recommend the book, but I'm going to try to tell the story in my own words. The story is about a man named Pilchard. Do any of the children know what Pilchard means? They're all muted, but perhaps somebody who can tell me can unmute. Anyone know?
We don't know.
Well, I'll tell you then that Pilchard is a kind of fish, and that's entirely appropriate because Pilchard was a fisherman, and he just loved to be a fisherman. He spent his days fishing. If he caught more than he needed to eat, he would sell them for a penny each. This was at a different time and place where a penny was plenty of money. And he was a helpful man. If any of his neighbors was hungry, he'd give them a fish. Or if he had an extra penny, he'd give them a penny. And if he didn't have either of those things, he'd give them something from his garden, because he was also a gardener. He'd give them carrots or cabbage or something. He was just known as a helpful man. And one day, Pilchard got a summons from the king up the top of the hill. Now, Pilchard didn't know what the king might want from him, but he went up to see, and he looked around in the palace and was quite impressed because that king had just everything a person might need. What on earth could that king need from Pilchard? So Pilchard said, "Your Majesty, I'm here, and I'm here to be helpful, but what could you possibly want from me?" And the king said, "Well, what I really want most, yes, I have all these things, but what I want most is the water of life. I've heard about this water, and I've heard that it gives you refreshment, and it gives you joy, and it makes you healthy, and it's just the thing. That's what I want. Okay, said Pilchard, I'd be glad to get it for you, sir, but where is it? That's just the trouble, said the king. Nobody knows. Nobody knows where the water of life is. Okay, Your Majesty, I will do my best to get it for you, but I'll leave today. We'll see what happens. So Pilchard went home quickly, and he packed himself a lunch and an extra shirt, and he packed, of course, his fishing line. And I've made an old-fashioned fishing line here with the safety pin at the end, just the sort of thing you might see in a cartoon. And then, since nobody knows where the water of life is, he said one direction is as good as another, and he just headed west. And he walked, and late in the day, it started to get a little dark, and he found himself in a big, dark, somewhat scary forest. He wasn't really sure about all of that. And then around the corner, he saw next to a tree a big, scary basilisk. Does anybody know what a basilisk is? I bet you do. Why don't you tell me what a basilisk is? You have to unmute first.
A lizard. A lizard that can climb.
Can you interpret that for us, Emily?
They said a lizard that can climb and walk on water.
That's very true. And in stories, a basilisk is very big, unlike a real basilisk, and it's snake-like and very scary and has fangs, and if it stares at you, it turns you to stone. So it's not a very friendly monster. Now, this particular basilisk wasn't so scary. It was sort of sad and droopy. And I don't have a basilisk to be the character here, but I have my dragon, Maggie. And I thought Maggie could play the part, although she's cheerful and not scary, but she'll be the basilisk. Well, Pilchard looked and saw that this poor basilisk was tied to a tree with a big, thick rope. And it didn't look very happy. And Pilchard, of course, being a kind and friendly man, said, "Oh, the poor thing." And the basilisk turned at him and said, "That's the first kind word I've had in 500 years. "Oh," said Pilchard, "you've been here for 500 years? Why are you still here?" And the basilisk said, "Well, I'm tied to this tree. I can't. I'd like to go home, but I can't." "Well," said Pilchard, "you have those big fangs. Why don't you just bite right through the rope and fly off someplace nicer?" So the basilisk answered, 500 years ago, I was here and I was giving the people in the village a hard time. I was turning them into stone, and they complained to the wizard. And the wizard tied me to the tree, and he used a magic rope. And this magic rope, there's no way to cut it unless you use a special magic knife. "Oh," said Pilchard, "why don't you just use the magic knife?" "That's the trouble," said the basilisk. "The magic knife is in the bottom of the well, and it's over there where I can't reach it. It's right down at the bottom of the well." "Well," said Pilchard, "hang on a minute, I'll do my best." And he took his trusty fishing line, and he went across behind the tree over to the well, and he fished until he found a magic knife. And he came back, and with one swipe, he went right through the rope. And the basilisk was free. He was so happy. He said, 500 years ago, 300 years ago, I was so mad I would have just turned you to stone. But now I'm so pleased that you've helped me that I'm going to do something for you. What do you need?" Well, said Pilchard, what I really need is I'm looking for the waters of life. Can you tell me where to find them? And it happens that our friend Basilisk knew exactly where it was. He said, it's a few days walk west of here on the top of a hill called Morna, and there's a spring there, and the water that comes out of that is the waters of life. But you're going to need a little help to get there, because in front of the spring, there's a big, huge gate with a big padlock on it, and it's locked. And then even if you get inside, there are lions guarding it, and you have to watch out for those lions. And once you get past the lions, you have to have something to take that water home with. So hang on here a minute, I'll go get something for you. And he flew away, and he came back, and the basilisk came back with 3 objects. First, there's the key that opens all locks. And secondly, here is the flute that soothes all beasts. And third, here is a magic bottle. And this bottle, no matter how much you put in it, it will never fill up. So you can carry as much as you want with it. So have these things and have success on your trip. And with that, Basilisk flew away, and Pilchard went on with his journey. So Pilchard kept walking and walking and walking, and he found that he was out of the forest and into a little village, and there was a house, and in front of it was a man, and the man looked very sad. He was sitting on his front porch looking gloomy. So of course, our friend Pilchard, being a friendly and helpful man, he didn't know what to do, but he went up to the man and said, "Sir, is something wrong? Can I help you?" And the sad man said, "Well, I really would like to go visit my daughter. I've been living here for 30 years, and I haven't seen her in quite a while, but this house is filled with all my precious things, all my memories and my pictures of my late wife. I can't leave unless I can lock my house, but I can't find the key." "Oh," said Pilchard, "I know what we can do. We have this magic key. This key will lock your house." And he locked it up and he said, "There, you're safe now. You can go visit your daughter." And the man said, "Well, that's very fine, but how will I get back in when I get back home?" Pilchard thought for a minute and he said, "Well, here, just have the key and then you'll always have a good key for your house." So the man took the key and he was happy, and he went off to visit his daughter, and Pilchard kept walking. And he kept walking and he kept walking, and eventually he ran into a crying child. Well, he couldn't resist a crying child. He went up and said, "Oh, child, what's wrong?" And the child looked at him and said, "Well, look, I need to call my goats. I need to call them home to come to dinner so I can go have dinner. But the way I call them is I whistle. And they're way over there, and they won't come unless I whistle." And then the little child smiled up at Pilchard and said, "See, I'm missing my 2 front teeth. I can't whistle anymore." "Oh," said Pilchard, "here's a solution." And he pulled out his magic flute. And guess what? The goats all came running, and the boy was able to go home for dinner, and all was well. And he had the flute to last until his teeth grew in. So Pilchard kept walking and walking and walking. And the next person he met was a farmer. And the farmer was looking terribly distressed. "What's wrong, farmer?" asked Pilchard. "Well," said the farmer, "I've got all these cows, and they've given me a lot of milk, and I don't have enough milk cans. And without the milk cans, I can't take the milk to market, and I'll just have to dump it on the ground." "Oh, I have a solution to that," said Pilchard. "I have this magic bottle. It will hold all the milk that you want. You can take it to town and sell it, and you'll do well." So he gave the bottle to the farmer and kept walking. And he kept walking and he kept walking, and sure enough, he came to a hill, the Hill of Morna, and he looked up at the top and he thought, it's a steep climb, but I'll try it. And he climbed up the hill and he looked, and sure enough, he could see a fountain. And way on the other side of a big old rusty gate, he saw that fountain. And sure enough, right around the fountain, guess what? Lions, big, scary guardian lions. Pilchard thought, you know, I could probably climb over the fence and I might be able to get past the lions. But once I got there, what would I do? I don't have any bottle to carry the water home in. Oh, well, he said, I tried, and he turns around. So Pilchard looks, and he sees that the water from the fountain is splashing onto the ground, and it makes a little trickle, and the trickle runs right under the fence. In fact, it's right near the path where he's walking. And he finds a place where it's pooled a little bit, and then he reaches in with both his hands and he takes a drink. And the water refreshes him and it makes him feel better and he's happy. And he says, oh, this is surely the water of life. This is just what I needed. So I'll just follow this stream and see where it goes. So he follows the trickle, and the trickle becomes a stream, and the stream becomes a creek, and it gets bigger and bigger. And finally, he realizes he's walking next to a river. And he goes further and further. And guess what? He suddenly realizes that he's just about home. There he is. The river that he's walking by is the same river that he's been fishing in all these years. So by this time, he's hot and dusty and tired. So he takes some of the water from the river and drinks it. And sure enough, it makes him happy and joyful and refreshed. So he washes his face with the water, and then he goes up the hill to see the king. And the king says, well, Pilchard, you've been on a journey. What have you found? Have you found the water of life? And Pilchard said, yes, your majesty, indeed, I have found it. Well, the king says, where is it? And Pilchard says, it's right here. Right here. Everything that you need is right here in your own home. You can see the river out the window, and you can have as much as you want anytime you want. Well, thank you, said the king. You have done well. You are my friend for life, and I will give you anything that you want. And what do you want? And Pilchard looked at the king and he said, I'd like to go fishing, your majesty. So Pilchard went back to his old happy life and continued to have fish to eat and food out of his garden, and he was able to share with his neighbors, and all was well. So thank you very much for listening kindly to my story. And I'm going to tell the same story in a different form for the homily. So the children can stay if they like, or whatever their parents would like them to do. The last man on earth sat alone in a room. There was a knock at the door. I remembered that chilling two-line story for over half a century from my early science fiction days. But I'd forgotten, of course, who wrote it. So I checked it out in Wikipedia, and Wikipedia tells me that it was Frederick Brown, and it offered some variants and expansions of that story, including the point, of course, that the other last person on Earth might well be a woman. But when that story was written in the 50s, it was clear that man meant person. Or we might use non-binary language, and then the story would get very complicated. But this story is also a reminder that there are a limited number of basic story types. The one about the last man on Earth, that's called The Bear at the Door. Others are Boy Meets Girl, although we'd probably rewrite that one these days and call it Person Meets Sweetheart. Pilchard's story could be described as Person on a Quest, and he also embodies the particular subvariant of that other circular moral, the one who helps others succeeds at the quest. And another one, you already have everything you need. You will find your heart's desire right where you started. Now, for us this year especially, I think these themes are important. We have been confronted by an unexpected bear at the door. We are in varying degrees stuck at home. Physical interactions carry more risk than usual, and we have been challenged to find and explore and nurture the treasures of home right where we started. The number of themes may be limited, our geographic reach may be limited, but the variants, the particulars, the combinations, the hopes, the sorrows, the challenges, the dreams, these are endless, and together they create a rich and inspiring pool which we celebrate together. The many streams of our stories come together in one unified pool. The water mixes, each bit becomes invisible, and yet none of us is lost. None of us is unneeded. None of us is unimportant. That small jar of actual water that's sitting in the office at the fellowship awaiting for us from last year, it contains molecules from all of us. And together, we are stronger than apart. And I love Pilchard's story also because it embodies a challenge that I faced when I was in seminary. I was thrilled to learn about the structure of Christian systematic theology, the kinds of questions that it poses. What is the nature of humankind? That's called anthropology. What is the nature of the divine? That's theology. What is the nature of Jesus? Christology. And they said that everyone in this culture has a Christology of some sort, although it may be very different from what they taught us in Methodist Sunday school. What is the nature of the Holy Spirit? Pneumatology, pneuma meaning breath. What is the nature of the church? Ecclesiology. All of these questions gave me a vocabulary to talk with my classmates and to think about my own values and how Unitarian Universalism relates to more traditional views. But what they taught us was not entirely satisfying. The topic which interests me most is anthropology. And after I got used to the idea that they didn't mean the study of cultures or languages or evolution, I saw that this was the question that had most engaged me through my long years of writing science fiction. What does it mean to be human? We could spend years on that question, but today I'll just say that I didn't much like the answer I got in seminary, because that answer centered on brokenness and the necessity of redemption. And yes, there's a lot of pain and sorrow and evil and brokenness in this world. Just look around. It is much more evident now than it was when I was in seminary. But I don't believe that human nature is inherently fallen. And I do believe that we are all reconciled to the good, though it may be a slow and painful process. The basic questions of that introductory systematic theology class did not directly deal with the most important question: how should we be in this world? What principle of interaction would lead to restoring the peace, the shalom, the wholeness of the world? And so I held back a little. And eventually I turned that all on its head, and I built my theology around two words I'm sure you've heard from me before. First, integrity, wholeness, being who you're meant to be, not cut off and isolated, but with the boundaries that we need to safely and effectively reach out to others. And one circle out to those others, I describe that reaching out as hospitality, being connected to the world in a healthy and mutually caring way. So here's Pilchard, a man of integrity and hospitality. He knows who he is, who he wants to be. He wants to be a fisherman with enough to sustain his life. And in reaching out, he's always ready to help someone else, whether it is the king or a neighbor who needs help baking his roof, or a basilisk or a crying child. He accomplishes his quest. He's always true to his own nature. And when asked what he wants to do next, of course, he just wants to go fishing to be himself. We could do worse than to learn from Pilchard. Pilchard, a man of earth, walks alone on a hillside. He hears a cry of need. He lends a hand. Amen. Shalom. Salam. And blessed be. Well, I want to thank you all who sent water photos, and thanks to Mary for turning them into a water collage for us. We'll be looking at them shortly. When I was growing up as a Unitarian, and that was the half of the background that I was in then, in the 50s, our church was not very strong on ritual. We didn't baptize or have communion. We didn't fast on Yom Kippur or feast on Harvest Home Sunday, or bless the candles in February, or celebrate saints' days, or host bar mitzvah parties, or lay claim to any of the celebrations and ceremonies that my neighbors' friends enjoyed. You might say it was sort of austere. So I'm especially glad that in the last 20 or 30 years, Unitarian Universalism has created and then developed the celebration of the water communion. I had to reassure my Christian seminary professors when I described this to them that no, we don't actually drink that water that was collected from oceans and drainage dishes and plastic bottles and all the different places it came from. And for many years, it has been our practice to pour it into a common vessel to physically represent the regathering of our lives after a summer of joys and sorrows and adventures and struggles of travels and travails. With the physical metaphor of water, we reminded ourselves that yes, we are a community. This year, challenged by the separation of physical distancing, we long for community more than ever, but we must use a collective imagination to replace that physical bowl with the electronic bowl that holds all of us. So let us now see the photos that you've sent, and after the meditation, you'll have an opportunity to share your thoughts and experiences. Mary, can you show us the pictures? And Mary, you are muted, so if you're saying something important, we're not hearing you.
Yeah, I just goofed. I had it all up and then I did something really dumb because it was a technological issue. Okay, so how I've got you minimized, so I'm having problems sharing my screen. So hold on. Because the pictures are flowing and y'all don't see them, do you?
No.
Okay, how do I unminimize?
Try Alt-Tab.
I am trying Alt-Tab. And I get to Zoom. Hold on. Oh, heck. All I see is a giant Zoom. And I might click on you. I'm trying. Oh, there it is. I got it. All right. Never mind. We're going to start again. All right. Technical issues. It's called user issue. Don't send me optional data. All right. Don't. All right, now. All right, I'm going to share my screen. You disabled screen sharing.
No.
Huh?
Hang
It
on.
says host disabled screen sharing for my participant.
Okay, try it now.
Okay. Here we go.
We're seeing something different.
Can you
We see
it
it.
says I'm screen sharing now.
See it.
We see it.
I'm sorry you can see everybody else, but I don't want to screw it up any more than it already is.
Meditation response.
Okay, I think now we're starting over again. So,
Well, you can keep it going and I'll do the meditation.
okay.
We all need the waters of life. Every cell in our body needs its share. We depend upon the crops that are nurtured by adequate water. This pandemic year, we have become more acutely aware of the need for water to cleanse us of the microbes that threaten our lives and health. And in this year of climate catastrophe brought home, we see the need for water to quench the fires that threaten so many in Western United States. And our souls are nourished by the beauty and calm of water in the ocean or stream, or just an iridescent puddle. Where do we find the water we all long for? For most of us, most of the time, it's just a matter of turning on the tap. But in the long run, adequate water requires more of us. It requires a community of care, a committed response to the climate crisis, sharing of resources with those beyond our immediate sight, Native American communities that do not have water running in their homes, cities like Flint still awaiting lead-free drinking water. It requires conservation and thoughtful distribution. In short, the need for water requires us to be like Pilchard, to live in kindness and generosity, and to treasure this precious place we call home. Would any of you like to tell us about your water pictures? And if Mary can produce one or more of those pictures at a time, I'd be very glad of it.
Okay, I can, if you start talking, I can select the pictures. And since I have control, I'm sure when I got to a bunch of these, you're looking and going, what the heck is this? But you talked about sharing the water with others. And this was, I talked about in whatchamacallit, one of the Sunday coffee hours. And this is the water, the bird bath in my cousin's front yard in Santa Cruz, which she said she always makes sure is full because the animals are coming in from the forests that are on fire. And so this is a coyote right here. She has her critter cam out at night.
We
It's
can't see
triggered by
anything.
motion. So you can
Mary?
see the coyote.
Mary, we're seeing you. We're not seeing the pictures.
Oh, sorry. Go back. All right, I screwed up again. All right, I apologize. Some Mary has her issues. All right, share screen, right? Am I now sharing my screen and it looks weird?
No.
Nope.
It said share screen.
Well, why don't you just tell us instead of struggling with
Okay,
technology?
well, I thought I was hit screen sharing. Oh, there we go. Never mind, I did it. All right, this is her water that she keeps out for the animals. And I'm having a hard time, as you can tell. Let me make this a little smaller. There we go. The water she keeps out for the animals. Can you see them now? There's the coyote drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And here are a couple of deer. She moved it to the other side. The deer are there. And then there's one raccoon there and one raccoon there. So she's putting it out so that the animals can come in from the fires and have some water to drink. And it's been quite busy. So, and then there was me enjoying where I spent most of my summer. Thank you, Kay, for taking the picture of me in the pool. So,
Thank you.
Hey, Mary, we submitted a video, a short video. That didn't seem to get included in the,
I didn't know how to round it through. I do believe I actually do have it. I have it, that's the price video. Oh, yeah, no, I have it. Yeah, it's on my other laptop. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't have that one here. I was having issues between the two of them. This is one from John and Kay. Just a short one. Please tell me I'm still sharing.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
no, well, we're seeing the picture of you floating in the pool right now. We can share the video that we sent you if you, if people would like.
I would if I had it on the.
Well, we have it. We can
Yeah.
share it.
I'd like to see
Yeah.
it.
So go ahead.
Oh, hold on, let me
Okay.
load it up.
If anybody else wants to talk to one of their pictures, I can pull it up.
Okay, while you're doing that, somebody else can go. We'll let you know when we're ready.
All right. Well,
I
the
speak
picture
about
that I
art.
showed-
Mary,
Yeah.
this is Linda.
Okay. Linda, you want the Utah things?
Yeah.
Where are they? Here we go. Hold on. I hate being online because now I'm getting an ad. Ugh. Hold on. It's coming. There we go.
We're still seeing the picture of you floating in the pool.
I know. Things are clicking weird here.
Well, we've all seen all the pictures. Why don't we just talk about what we saw
There we
contributed?
go. Your screen sharing is paused. There we go. Crap. It's not the one I wanted. All right. I'm sorry.
Should I talk or just?
Yeah, something?
Okay. We went to Utah in September, October with our son because he wanted to go on a trip with us before, and that's him, part of him. So we decided we'd go on this trip together. And this is a slot, well, the previous one was a slot canyon. And that was, let's see, called Kolob Plateau in Willis Creek, Utah, and near or part of the Grand Staircase. And it's where, you know, millions of years of water trickling through, but then periodically rushing through, because these things flood out that really cuts through the canyon. And before you go in, you always have to look at the weather to make sure there's not going to be rain, because it could flash flood while you're down there. So it's beautiful, but it comes with its precautions. And then the other one was just the water and the stone. That was part of Zion National Park on one of their walking trails, the Court of the Patriarchs. And I just thought it was a pretty scene, so I took that picture.
Okay. I've discovered the only way this will work is if I pull up a picture and whoever owns it can talk.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Linda. Mary, why don't you show us another? That's from Lorian.
This
Yeah,
was
this
a
is
drawing
from
by Lorian.
She had drawn this picture, and Reverend Carey suggested that we put it up because it has a stream in it. But it's one of her. She was very creative this summer with all of her drawing to take up, spend her time doing, and this is one of her latest things.
It's beautiful.
It's wonderful.
Wow, she is so creative.
I think that I see a frame in its future. All right, okay. Sorry, that's just me and my natural habitat in Baja. But this is the other place I got to go. Some of you know it. This is a picture on my laptop, and a friend is doing a robot where you can search take it over. And this is actually the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. And it was kind of silty and cloudy the day that I was visiting down there. So it's one way to get to go someplace else. In the pool, those, okay. Okay, this is from Miranda, and it's of her lake at night. That same spot during the day. I think that was Miranda's as well. That's also Miranda. Is this Miranda or is this John and Kay?
This is
John and Kay.
John and Kay. This is where our daughter takes her walks now. Instead of Brooklyn, she's walking around the inner harbor at night, and she sent that picture where a sailboat just went by. Now that they live in Baltimore, she takes these lovely walks in the evening.
I love the lighting in this picture.
Yeah, that's
So do
why I
I.
sent it. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
That's our grandson. The stream has been such a haven for him. He loved, you know, he'll put I even got him some boots that he can go in and just spend hours in the stream. That's on our property. That's Long Island Sound. That's where we went sailboating on our 45th wedding anniversary this year. Another one.
Okay, that's your video. I don't know what happened to your other video, folks. Okay. All right, I got it. I'll be right back. I promise I'll be right back. Now that I think I figured out how to do this. Ah, or not. Share screen. And it's this one.
If Erica's ready with ours, if you want us to share it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. You got it. You got it. You're fine. Keep going.
Okay. Ruby? Ruby and Chris?
Hi.
Hi.
So let's see, here are Sam and Maddie in the little pool that we inflated and put up on our deck this year. So they spent a lot of time in it. You can go on to the next one. Okay, let's see. This is Sam and Maddie at, let's see, I think this is Ellis Woods Park at East Coventry Township. There's a little stream that flows through and some hiking trails, and they went there by themselves, but they also had a lot of social distance play dates there and spent a lot of time digging in the dirt, and they really enjoyed it. For a second, I forgot where this is.
It says Warwick Park.
Warwick Park, yes, yep. So this is Warwick Park, pretty near where the fishing area is. And it's not in this picture, but there's actually a little like bridge of rocks that the daring kids can walk out on across the river. And they had a great time. See, that is Lakeside, Ohio. It's on Lake Erie. It's where Chris's family, like we have a little cottage there. And I think it's one of the only places on Lake Erie where you can see the sunrise and the sunset from the same spot. And that would be on that deck. Those were some flowers next to the lake that I thought were amazing because they almost don't look real, but they are. They're not tricolored.
They're very Dr. Seuss.
Oh, I didn't know that flowers could be that color.
Me either. They're really cool.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So that's us at Lake Erie as well. That's East Harbor State Park. And there's Justine with us. And so this state park, the beach was really popular when Chris's mom was in high school and his parents used to go there. And then there was a big storm and a lot of the beach flooded away. And so there's 2 small parts of beach left, one in the main area near the parking lot that was way too crowded for us to be comfortable in COVID times. But if you hike through the woods, you get to the second spot where it's only accessible either by hiking or by boat. And it was so quiet and so calm and so beautiful. And we just floated in the water for hours.
Okay.
Oh, and that isn't really supposed to be part of the water ceremony, but the kids had a chance to walk on a labyrinth. And I was proud to say that they were already familiar with it and knew how to do it because of what they learned at the fellowship on New Year's Day.
Okay, that's the sculpture in my sister's backyard where the water flows. And just as we were talking about it, the bird landed and is drinking the water. It's on her deck in Madison. I think this was CJ's. Yeah, this is from CJ.
It's beautiful.
She's still on? I can't tell.
I guess not.
Okay,
I think
and
we
then
lost
there's
CJ.
CJ doing Tai Chi at the beach. I think that's a really cool shot. Emily?
This is Clayton and Cordelia. Green Lane Park is like right near where Clayton works, and we had never gone kayaking there before, but they rent kayaks, and so we decided to take the kids out and do that as a fun summer thing.
I don't know, this Reverend Dave?
That's Ridley Creek, which is very close to where we live, Ridley Creek State Park.
There's Emily, and
that's me with Lorelei, same day.
Where was that again, Emily?
It's Green Lane Park, so it's up Route 663.
Okay, just curious, because we went kayaking this summer too, and different place.
I had thought for sure, Emily, that was French Creek Park. Chris and I were making bets because we go kayaking there and it looks very similar.
Yeah, it is really, it's really similar, and it's got similar walking trails and stuff. With like, there's walking trails and horseback riding trails and stuff, but it's so much closer to us than French Creek Park. So.
Yeah, we went kayaking at Marsh Creek.
And this grungy yogurt container of water is what I've been using to clean my brushes as I've been working on an art project all summer. I've been making an altered book.
We have several similar cups around the house, generally sitting out in Lorian's room for weeks.
Well, I change them from time to time, but they're always gray and grungy. And this is a storm we had. A picture taken from our front yard, front porch.
It's Linda Kozitsky.
Yeah, that's me. So that's down at Ocean City, New Jersey. That is basically 2 hours after the hurricane had come through and stopped. And I'm always, nature is always amazing. For as bad and as dark and as windy and as the damage that the rain might have done, once Mother Nature was done, it was absolutely gorgeous. The beach looked pristine. The sky was beautiful. So nature is amazing.
She sure is. All right. Yeah, now we're back. Okay, I think we've gone through.
Well, thank you all for sharing.
We have one to share.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen Rick's video.
Can you share? Hang on.
Okay, I've never shared before.
Hang on a sec.
And I got a screen. I have no idea what this means.
Oh yeah, click on I just finished. Click on the screen you want to share.
That's your desktop.
And it clicks.
Your whole desktop. No.
Yeah, it's confusing, isn't it?
Okay, now you're sharing your desktop.
Thank you. I'm surprised you didn't run into Dave.
It's a big park.
Thank you all for sharing, for your water pictures, for sharing your bits of your lives, and for sharing the community that's so important to us. Mary, are you in a position to extinguish our chalice now?
Yep.
When we extinguish this flame, we do not end its warmth or its spirit. Instead, the flame becomes virtual, and it kindles comfort, challenge, and inspiration for all of us. As water is the fount of all our lives, may we have what we need and use it to bless the world. And Dave will provide a postlude. Amen and good morning. Now I think we can switch to coffee hour mode.